too.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth.
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands. So many clues.
So where do her thorns fit in, then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all.
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral and...
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of... Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelegion. When her thorns went wild, they contained far...
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That they're... But why would they want to destroy the...
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth, especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say?
Right.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit from the...
Oh, that?
Compared to what Shion's going through, still. Even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain...
Yeah.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing...
Yeah.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on. And you didn't even... She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said...
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I have my own dreams. But a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive?
Agreed. It's like more and more... Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard,
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to... I just figured that that was the type... But it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die, and...
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend?
I'm sure it made her happy.
You...
Yeah, I do. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be in...
Yeah. When you think about it, we were all alone in... But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget it...
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed... It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but I could never quite figure out what it was.
You? But you're the one...
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping...
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save...
I know. No lone...
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say.
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now.
I guess he couldn't say anything.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us will need all our strength. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point. but I guess I'll think it over.
Yeah. Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause as much as I try to look like I have things under control. Everyone's...
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first...
No.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you. I was different back then. The Danons were not even people to me. And I knew, but in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just... Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword. And to But after that day, one time became two. And before I knew it, you'd made It didn't matter that we were Renans. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me, I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't...
Shion.
But then, I realized... I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. Don't worry, it's okay. I've met too many people along the way who so I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over, but I swear I'll be there with you.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia?
Yeah.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegus.
Well, it's the moment of...
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're...
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of
A name? You know, I'm not...
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right?
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the...
I like it. Sounds perfect for our...
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as...
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegus and make the Renans finally leave. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. All right?
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel
How much longer until we reach Leningrad?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying, but I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
We'll be going to Lenegis.
This must feel like a homecoming. What was life on Lenegis like back then?
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole... They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using...
You mean, they...
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to... Day in and day out, every single day, one test after... The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Help. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to... Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed, and that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why should...
Are you crazy?
That's exactly... Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't... If we're doing this to protect people... If we're doing...
A world free of sacrifice.
Not just me. We're in this together. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. Now I see it.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end.
You bet we can pull it off. We have to.
Yeah, you're right. We can do this.
Hey, Alvin, listen to this! So Law and I were...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made...
Hey, I never said I was... I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a...
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to...
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can try.
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Al...
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things.
You okay? Feeling it?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are...
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big and...
It's a healing pod. It fixes it.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in... Alphen?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis. That's... Naori laid me inside.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that means...
Yes. It sounds crazy, I know.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But...
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right?
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't... The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream, if I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks.
I know. But whatever we find when we get...
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly...
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it...
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people...
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate...
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass. Denied the right. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a...
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking...
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You...
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't... No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's like...
Jeez, give back...
Wait a second. Are you...
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be met.
So this red woman, are we expecting to...
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us and put...
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take...
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion... There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this... And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone.
Forbidden?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, in any case, Changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparation, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble.
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds.
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously...
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get a...
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a...
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track... Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renans. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side?
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie...
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid...
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renans actually...
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like...
What in the world?
This being Renan territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their...
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter.
Dohalim?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be...
So you haven't heard what happened on Dan?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening. But so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea?
The Forbidden Zone?
What? Trust me. The less you know.
You're just... I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home, let alone the Forbidden...
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand.
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are...
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world.
We need more information. Let's talk to the city.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman.
And don't forget about finding the way to the...
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danon.
Good idea. I think...
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantage.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danons among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire...
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right?
You heard him. You don't have time to...
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration.
Ordinarily, yes. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so...
Sorry.
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's... This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Whatever did we do to...
You really have no clue what might have...
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no pride. We have no choice but to grieve. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim? I believed he was...
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty.
As your lordship wishes. First, Lenegis mutates beyond recognition. Now this The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor! I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing, I witnessed the deaths of so many.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red.
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like...
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise.
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay?
Hmm? Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my...
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation...
I suppose the Sovereign knows I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how?
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell...
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance, and I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters.
It's worth investigating. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe...
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of...
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan.
Oh, why yes...
Well, we've canvassed the city for information.
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth.
Given everything that's happened to their city?
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that...
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been... Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all...
The Sovereign's... There is one thing I'm still not sure about.
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegus.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena... That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling...
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the... Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with...
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no.
Hold up, what are you getting...
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegus has ever laid eyes on the actual Ren...
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back...
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegus single-handedly. It could...
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's... What if something were to happen to the city?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. As for how Volron factors into all this...
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegus. Now, 300 years later, we crossed paths with Volron. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without...
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason?
I can't say for sure, but it's...
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job we never did see Volron's body back and Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be...
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman... The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems...
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign...
Then it's decided.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us... Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, they're sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their...
But Dohalim was...
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite...
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt that...
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegus now. Balsif, Cannabelt, now that I think of it. Aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed...
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about...
It feels strange to imagine the lords...
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquire? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters, and luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they
didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind.
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danan's. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But
more to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of...
What if she's not here? What if it turns out...
It's still too early to say.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill...
And what skill would this be?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become...
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidate. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people...
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the
So there is a knack to it!
Now you've got me curious. Is there special...
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just...
Hey! What's got into...
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously.
Yes!
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Renna.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
Seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently.
Yeah, despite the...
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and...
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, but their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of...
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to...
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we...
So, Alphen, have you gained...
Yeah. I think it's Balsif and the others. They all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible, but at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. So I guess...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or even if they did terrible things?
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a... I think that's something we've...
Shion and Dohalim...
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust.
What's this thing? There's something I just don't...
What is it?
The crown contest itself is always... In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was.
Yeah, that makes...
So...
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for...
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland.
And that never struck...
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to know...
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things...
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could... But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly...
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a...
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us...
No use standing around...
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask...
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that... But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't...
If killing me will bring you peace, then so...
Dohalim! What the hell?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will...
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness...
Is it true? What?
Each of us have our pasts.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend...
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say...
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than any...
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. Besides, you have just as much
Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Finally.
What is it?
I found an ingredient for that new recipe.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leave.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live.
It is some...
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagan.
Tarnagan. He was the one that fought...
He was once my dearest, closest friend. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have. What now? I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based... Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundation.
Your praise does me too great an honor. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagan and I became fierce. Tarnagan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins. But fate was not...
What happened?
Tarnagan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't... But he was desperate and low on options. And he could...
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved. And by her...
So instead you let her go on hating you. So she...
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my... As for what happened after...
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now.
Shion's right. What other Lord would have treated me as you did? You've saved so many... You saved me. It's so... Try not to blame yourself. The bird...
Frank is all... But... I shall do my best.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to...
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
I must admit, I'm rather...
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Ho! I am Lord Dohalim of Elden Menencia. I command you.
The rest of the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they've got one.
Now you see what I can do!
It's almost too strong.
Then I'll split it open!
Be my guest.
You're mine!
Vacuum blade!
Damn it, Phoenix!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
No! Coming through! Ha! No! Scarlet Inferno!
I'll heal you all!
Combat!
You're mine!
Healing circle!
The flame inside me! You're
Now I'm real mad!
Swallow dance! Void slash! Strike!
We're not finished!
Take this! You're not done!
Here comes Raging Cascade! I'm all stuffed up!
There!
By the power of one!
Vacuum blade!
I'll smash you!
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've...
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that...
They weren't in the least bit fazed by dope.
Indeed. They seem to recognize... And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles...
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and
I've never seen anything like...
Maybe someone doesn't want us here. And the...
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, they're starting to develop quite the growth.
These ones can run rings around us!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade!
Not a chance!
Dragon Jump! Here comes the marksman handle! Where are you going? Rain down and
Pieces!
Attack!
Mirage!
Talon Hurricane!
There!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
Gotta break through.
Eat this!
You picked the wrong fight!
There you go! Swallow dance!
I owe you one. Void flash!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Strike! Void flash!
Take this!
Go away! Strike! Void flash!
Far enough!
Strike!
Come on, warm now!
A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it!
Here goes!
Void flash! Strike!
First aid!
Void flash!
Stars of light!
Void flash!
Rain down and
Dragon!
one more!
Try this!
Rolling fast! All finish you
Sword!
hear it?
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Will this help?
Void flash!
Healing power!
Thanks!
Into the shadow!
You picked the wrong fight! Bam!
Primed and ready!
Talon Horn!
Vacuum blade!
Burning
I can carve through armor!
Raging cascade!
Vacuum
I
blade!
never miss! Feel!
That frickin' does it!
I'll be saving this
Void
way!
flash! Strike!
Give it all!
Try harder!
Rolling fast!
In a vine! Made one! Come forth and healing security!
Void flash!
Watch this! Leave the charges to me!
Illuminate the
Strike!
dark! Come forth!
Void
Holy
flash!
glimmer! Let me help!
Strike!
Holy lamp!
Void the
Swallow
flame inside me! Yours to be let free!
Eat this! I'll
Lightning
finish you
is
here
down.
now!
Void flash!
Illuminate
Take
the
this!
dark!
Shattering
Come
to
forth!
pieces!
Holy glimmer!
Strike!
Holy lamp!
Void flash!
I can carve through armor!
Strike! Void flash!
You see what happened there is you crossed me.
Bloody
Shouldn't have done that.
Not on my watch! Burning strike!
Void flash!
Raging
Strike!
storm!
Far enough! I'll crush you! Ah! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! I'll finish you here and now!
Strike!
I'm on!
Void flash! It's on! Void flash!
I've let you all down.
Stay away from my friends! Strike! Strike! Void flash! Ignite! Void flash! Strike! Void flash! No escape!
Swallow dance!
Void flash! Strike!
That'll bring you down!
Void flash! Strike!
Watch this!
I'll heal you all! Raging
Smash
storm!
you!
Now!
Oh! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
We can...
Really make weapons with this? Ow! Chargers to me!
Healing the flame!
Far enough!
Illuminate the dark!
can't let the hatred consume me!
Engaging! Burn! There!
Searing flame!
Vacuum blade! There! Fire support! Vacuum blade!
Hands there! Leave the ensnaring to me. Yeah! And the vacuum to me!
Abort!
Mission! An astral art?
That's my cue!
There!
Shut him down!
Hurricane!
By the power of
Right.
flame!
There!
More where that came from!
Vacuum blade!
Here's a healing
I'll tear you apart!
Now!
In the glue! We did it! Now!
Eat dirt!
Luna Rongo! Mirage! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Will this help?
Not a chance!
Leave the charges to me!
I'll smash you! There! My steel! Vacuum blade!
Thanks so much!
There!
Ready!
We're not finished! Do it! More! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
That's no ordinary enemy I see over there.
No choice!
You got
Ignite!
Can't get out of this!
In here!
Tear you apart!
Ready?
They really don't give up, do they?
Vacuum blade!
Now! Astral energy!
Say no more! My turn! Remote!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Not a chance! Tower Hurricane! There! There!
Glacier Spear! Pierce evil!
Try harder! There! Vacuum blade!
Now we're not...
I need to be stronger. Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making...
No backing down!
You picked the wrong fight!
That's enough!
Force Flash! Strike! Force Flash!
I see no path
Here and now! Force
Where
Flash!
are you going? Air thrust!
Dragon Shell!
Light and blah blah blah!
Dragon Shell!
Not on my watch!
What's this?
Vacuum blade!
Can't get out of this!
Lightning orb! Lightning!
Vacuum blade!
These sticks have got your name on them! Eat this!
There!
Storm!
Try harder! Back a flame inside you! Yours to be let free!
Blah blah blah!
Vacuum
Reveal!
blade!
I'll
There!
be saving this one!
Vacuum
Blah
blade!
blah blah! Reveal!
Armor won't save you!
I'll be saving this one!
Tear you apart! Strike! Force Flash! Strike!
Holy land!
Force Flash!
It's time! In a bind?
Pierce
Strike!
evil!
Force Flash! Strike!
Blazer! Burning sun! Dead
Force
in the way!
Flash!
By the power here!
Strike!
Finish without a
Force
trace!
Flash!
More for the
This one's
sun!
all mine! Ignite!
Can't be swirled! More with that
Force Flash!
Explosion!
Vacuum blade!
Illuminating
Now you see what I can do!
Glacial spear! Pierce
Vacuum blade!
You see what happened there as you crossed me? Shouldn't have done that!
Try harder!
This one's mine! Will this help?
Strike! Force Flash!
I never miss!
Strike!
Tectonic punch!
What's this?
I'll heal you all!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! Eat this!
Will this help?
Strike! Force Flash!
Blood in your dreams!
This
Healing
time!
circle!
Strike!
Illuminate the
Ignite!
Thanks so much!
Vacuum blade!
Dragon Shell!
Anything in armor is all
Vacuum
mine!
blade!
Armor won't save you!
There!
Here's a knife! Hear me!
Vacuum blade! Try harder! There!
Eat this!
Vacuum blade!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here, Astral Energy!
Say no more. This should make for some good weapon crafting material.
Let's dispose of the trash.
No further! Blow away!
It's like trying to keep up to a wall!
Flame inside me, yours to be let free! Crumble! Vacuum blade! Form! Damn it! Too fast! Stand back! Now I'll trip it up! In an instant! Impact claw! Not a chance! Strike! Mirage! Vacuum blade!
Now you see what I can. Now I'm in the groove.
That's Mirage!
Light Astral Energy!
Lunar Rondo!
I'm out of ammo! Back into the fray! This one's mine!
He's dead!
Right.
Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno!
Will this help?
Void Blast! Strike!
Healing Circle! Where are you going?
It's time! Take this! My turn! Vacuum blade!
Flame of
Melt! Take it!
Flawless flight!
Burn!
Burning strike!
Glacial Spear!
Piercing bolt!
Vacuum blade!
Freeze laser! Thunder
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone! Don't get careless.
Way.
Fire in the hole!
Bring him down!
Far enough!
Back! I won't show you any mercy!
No, you
Prepare to be seen! You can't get out of this! The flame inside is yours! Not today! Strike! What? Damn it! I can carve through! Do it! Remove!
Astral Energy!
Say no more! Now! First strike!
Annihilation!
Vacuum blade! I'm on! Vacuum blade! There!
Vanish without a trace!
The flame inside me, yours to be let free!
Eat this!
There! Blow away! Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet and...
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
Brace yourselves! This one's tough!
This one's mine!
Far enough!
Punch that gun out of your hands!
Radiant flame!
Fall back! Vacuum blade!
Do it!
Back down!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! No!
Anything in armor is
You
all
picked the
mine.
wrong fight!
Magic is there!
These fists have got your name on them!
Thanks!
Holy
I can carve through one! My shield! Vacuum blade!
Confiscated!
I'm just
Do
it!
Explosion! Thunder!
I come!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Crazy
I'm on it!
I'll tear you
No
apart!
further!
Down to the wind! Air thrust!
Anything in order!
Magic is... Holy light!
Mirage! Fire in the hole! This
Now
one's
you
all
see what I
mine!
can do.
Here! There!
I'm on
Vacuum blade! Ready for! Fire support! Thanks! Target denied! There! Vacuum blade! There! I'm on it! Vacuum blade! Remote!
Astral energy!
Say no more! My
It's
turn!
in the sky,
I'll tear you
it's mine.
apart! What's this? Vacuum blade! Kisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone!
There's always room for improvement.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alvin was speaking to.
It was Naori.
She really does look like Shion.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly?
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an...
But how is that even possible? Unless...
No.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral...
I felt it too. And not for the first time either.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being... For all we know, perhaps we're close to the...
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate.
Shion.
Yeah. It was all just a little So that was my ancestor, huh?
Yeah, there certainly is a...
What about you?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, reliving painful episodes from your past.
I can't just pretend like the past. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was...
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. I'd like to liberate them too, if I can. Which is just another reason...
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. You're in... Not that I'm complaining. Come on.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.